Hi friends! It is the end of our day in Ireland. I was about to say the end of our day in Dublin, but we were not in Dublin for any of the day. You may have noticed I did not do any kind of intro video or anything this morning. That's because we left at 6:45 on a bus, and we did not get back until like 8:15 p.m. So 6:45 a.m. to 8:15 p.m. we had the most depressed tour guide I think I've ever seen in my life. I don't remember his name. Steven, maybe. And it was an absolute blast. He like only told us things that were terrible, like people dying. Like he told us about a tourist who threw herself off the cliffs and died and they never found her body. He told us about 3 Eastern European people who went fishing and didn't know how to handle the ocean because they weren't born in Ireland, and so they all drowned. He told us about wars and genocides and I don't know what. Oh, he told Josiah. I'm sorry, I'm looking off camera. Josiah's making wild motions to me from across the room. He told us about the true origin of the word lynch. There was a person named Lynch in Galway, Ireland, which we stopped at, whose son killed someone over a lady, and his dad was like the head of the town or the magistrate or something like that, and so his dad hung him out the window, hence he got lynched, which is a terrible story. And he told us all kinds of things, and it was so much fun. He seemed super just really depressed as a person. So I don't know if he was like an Irish Eeyore. So it was pretty fabulous. And we drove all the way to the cliffs, but it was raining sideways. And we couldn't see anything. As you will have seen from the video, there was mist and fog and everything. And he, all the way up, was like, oh no, this is terrible. What a disaster. I'm sorry about the weather. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm sorry for my terrible Irish accent. And it was totally fine. When we got back on the bus, he was like, it's right awful weather. And I said, I feel like we got the true experience. And he said, oh, stop it. Ridiculous. But we did get to stop at another tinier cliff like a half an hour later, and we got some great videos. And there wasn't any safety anything there. There was no like, it wasn't really a tourist spot, so we got to climb all over the rocks. I did not get too close to the edge. That's when he told us people threw themselves off the cliffs and drowned because there wasn't any safety stuff. So we drove all the way across Ireland. It took like 3 hours to get to the cliffs. Then we drove up the coast for a while, so that was beautiful. And then we stopped in Galway for like an hour. We got stuck in traffic, so maybe we had an hour there, hour and 15 minutes. I got a little bit of footage of some of their sweaters. They had, of course, the Aran sweater market, like all kinds of places selling Aran sweaters. Amazing, beautiful stuff. For fairly cheap considering. I'm sure they were made on a knitting machine, but still cheap considering what they were. I didn't get too much footage. We really didn't have much time, and all of the sweater shops also sold yarn, and it was like, I don't want to say it's local yarn in the sense that Ireland doesn't have any, or maybe they only have one wool mill, so they would have had to ship it somewhere and then get it milled and then sent back. So I don't know if it's technically Irish wool. It was very scratchy, but it was super cheap. You could get like 200 grams for 12 euros. If I could handle wool like that, I totally would have bought some. They did have some Donegal wool there, which was much softer, and I think it would be even softer after blocking, but I didn't have time to really like touch it and decide, so I didn't want to buy it because it would be really a shame if I bought it and then couldn't do anything with it. So my skin is too sensitive. We had some coffee there because it was like 4 p.m. in the afternoon and we'd been in a bus for all day, so it was pretty exhausting. We definitely needed that coffee. And then once we got out of Galway, the traffic was crazy. We came back to Dublin and we arrived at 8:15 and we immediately went to a pub and had stew, which was delicious. And now we're back in the hotel room. I've got some work to do really quickly before we go to bed. Tomorrow is going to be a long day as well, but I did get I got some footage of the countryside, which is just beautiful. Everything is so green, it's insane. It like glows green even though it's super cloudy and gray outside all the time. I've never seen anything so green in my life, and I love it, and I never want to leave. I'm already sad about leaving on Saturday. I've always wanted to come here. I don't know why. I just love everything I've seen about Ireland. I love the way Irish people talk. I love Irish music. I'm fascinated by Irish history. He gave us a little bit of history of the IRA, which now I need to go find some books on because I know a little bit, but not enough. And, oh, I almost dropped the camera. Sorry if that gave you a heart attack. What was I saying? So there's a couple of things. One is based on the sweaters. So as you will see, all of the sweaters, well, hopefully you can see it from the video, have pretty intense cable designs. And one of the reasons for that is when they were first making these sweaters, like hand knitting them long time ago, is because they were for the fishermen who went out on the boats. So they didn't, if you went over the edge of the boat, you were pretty much gonna drown. And if they recovered your body a week later or 2 weeks later, you wouldn't be recognizable because the salt water would make you all puffy, and then like fish would probably eat you. So all of the different families had their own sweater pattern, so their own cable pattern basically, that they would knit into the sweater so that they could identify the bodies of the fishermen, which is a real thing. I knew that before the tour guide mentioned it, but only briefly. I know that because of the Babel's Traveling Yarn podcast, which she is fabulous. If you don't watch her, you totally should. I've been watching her for quite some time, and it was like on and off until she talked about the repeal effort in Ireland, and she was just so passionate about that, and it really like touched my heart to hear her talk about women's reproductive rights and for everybody. So I've been watching her podcast religiously since then, and she provides fascinating tidbits of Irish history. She's mostly a knitter, but she does weave and spin as well, so she makes some crazy things. And she hand dyes yarn, hence Babel's Traveling Yarn. So she talked about that, and that's how I know that about the sweaters. I don't know where I was going with that, but I have worked all the time we were in the bus, except when I was looking out the window, which was a lot, on my blurred line sweater. And I am so thrilled to say that the body is done, including the hem. And the last thing I will do before signing off is include a little video of what it looks like laid flat on the bed. But I am gonna go now because tomorrow we have a big day. We are taking a tour of the Jameson factory. I'm gonna hopefully find a yarn store. We are going to the Leprechaun Museum, and who knows what else. all kinds of things. Walk until our feet fall off because we're leaving on Saturday. Eternal sadness. Okay, see you tomorrow. Bye.